words sound much.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everybody's had an opportunity to look at the minutes, can I get a motion to accept the minutes as distributed?
I'll move it.
I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
One abstention.
Okay. Mr. Diamond's an abstention. Any opposed? No. Okay. Motion carried. Citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens?
Should I stay here, or should I, because there's no mic or anything, right? Is that all right?
When, yeah, but you can pan over to her, correct? Yep, sure.
Okay. All right, Cindy Clark, 27 West Genesee Street, Baldwinsville. Just a couple things. First of all, as the camera comes around, I'd like to put it out there, if you know of anybody, or if you know of anybody that would be interested in doing some filming, the videography, you can contact us at PAC Television, be their website. It's a great way to get involved in your community and a great way to make a few extra bucks. Because we've got Jesse's new on board here, and he's very excited about what the future holds for him. Secondly, just a reminder for the Saturday the 14th, the Seneca River Days at Paper Mill Island. Just a reminder there, another great community event. And this coming Wednesday, the 11th, at Paper Mill Island is Zumba on the Island, our fourth time here. It's all free. We provide the water and the power bars and everything. It starts at 9:30 in the morning. It's only 45 minutes. We're going to have regular Zumba Gold. It'll be a lot of fun. So, like I say, it's a free event. Park behind Red Mill Manor. They've been gracious to let us use it this year. So please, everybody, come out and join us for this free event. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Mr. Desmond.
Well, I haven't had anything to say in so long, I don't know what I really would like to hit you up with, just a suggestion. Back a board or two ago, we had some loudspeaker stuff here. We had some microphones and whatnot. I'm getting older. I admit it. I can't hear you so good from back here. Unless you want to maybe put some chairs right in front of the bench there.
Well, we have our microphones in front of us.
Oh, we
Yeah.
don't seem to be hearing it, and especially our new parks guy. I like what he's got to say, but I can't hear him. So if he could do something, especially with the tables there, to get some sound equipment. Just a suggestion.
Why don't you sit in the front row and see if that makes a difference?
I just said I'm willing to sit right in front of the bench.
No, right there, the 5 rows in front of you. Right there.
Sit right there, right in front of you, okay? I can hear you. You're a big mouth.
Oh.
I'm not big mouth sometimes when I get worked up, but a lot of what goes on here is so quiet, nobody can hear it. So, just a suggestion.
Okay.
Okay?
I didn't know it was a problem. You're the first one that brought it to our attention, so I'll make sure I speak up.
Well, I can hear you pretty decent most of the time.
Most of the time, okay. Is there anybody else?
Kevin Road, 1405 Greenmore Way. Motion A, what's the intersection of Smoky Hollow Road and what road?
I think that's Hinkle.
60.
Good.
Hinkle and
Good.
60?
Or Smoky Hollow and Hankel, right?
Smoky Hollow and Hinkle.
And Hankel,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, that's a four-way stop. Is that, so like
Yeah,
from,
we were that, so it's for northbound and southbound north of Hinkle Boulevard, is that correct? Is that the area up to the
it was secondary as a request for a speed study. It was mostly they want the stop ahead sign moved, and that was the main thing. Then they're like, oh, by the way, somebody should lower this 10 miles an hour because there's gonna be accidents there. So it wasn't really originally a speed study.
But they wanted a speed study as well. Speed study and to look at signage, which is the,
So what they wrote was, the stop sign ahead sign needs to be moved several hundred feet westward, so traffic, especially tractor trailers, have the distance they need to stop. Reducing the speed on Hinkle from 55 to 45 might also help this issue, as there is significant truck traffic from outside the area due to several warehouse and packaging plants in the vicinity.
so it's actually, they're asking for a speed study in Hank, not on Smoky Hollow.
Well, where the four corners are though, because that's where the main, from reading this, that's what I got out of it. I mean, yeah, this too. We could say up to.
Let's table this and see, let's figure out exactly what you're looking for.
We'll have to do that, then we'll call.
Okay.
Okay, and then the only other thing is, I was at the work session, it was brought up about, the highway secretary, the union. Councilor Diamond had alluded to turmoil in the highway department. I hadn't heard much about it other than last year's issue with the secretary, so I hope there was nothing more than that. That's all.
Can I clarify? I'd just like to respond. So I've been in office for 8 years. The highway department's always had issues. There's always been conversations, conflict, We just wanted to try to make it as smooth a transition as possible. That's all. Nothing in particular.
Okay, anybody else? No, okay. Supervisor's comments. Only comment I have tonight is, it seems that we're getting back into the time where people are starting to look at wearing masks again. Well, I'm not gonna revisit that issue again. But if people attending these meetings, if you want to wear a mask, you can wear a mask. If you don't feel comfortable, we're going to keep the meetings open unless we're mandated that we can't keep the meetings open. But those mandates last year came down from the governor's office. I think the governor's got other issues to worry about right now, so we're probably not going to. I would doubt if we're going to see something coming out of his office, and I think the legislature even revoked some of the governor's authority to do those mandates. So, but before you come to a meeting, if you're wondering what the current status is, if it does change, I will make sure that the town clerk puts it on our website, whatever it's changed to. But if we don't have to do anything, we're going to leave it up to individual people to decide if they feel comfortable coming with a mask, without a mask, or even coming at all. So that's where I plan on being in the future. So we have town board comments. We'll start with you, Mr. Diamond.
I appreciate the comments regarding masks and the future of the town board in regards to that. Other than that, I'll stick to the agenda.
I think we're on a roll today, so I'll stick to the agenda today.
Well, some good news. I'm the Canton Woods representative, and I'd just like to remind folks they do 2 good events. And last year they had to put these off because of COVID, but they're excited about putting them back on. So, and I know Danny will put them on the website. You're pretty good at that. But this coming August 23rd is the 11th annual car show, vintage cars, all for free. And stuff that they have there, it goes to support Canton Woods. And then the next event, which is really a lot of fun, and it's not, it's a month and a half away. It's September 18th. It's Walk for the Woods, Canton Woods, 2021. It's September 18th at 9 o'clock. You pay your entry fee, you get a T-shirt, and you go for a nice leisurely walk. It's not a run. and it all goes to support Canton Woods, which is really it's a wonderful organization. We support the town of Lysander, the town of Van Buren, and it's a Village of Baldwinsville facility, and they do so many good things for the senior citizens living in the greater Baldwinsville community. So you put that on the webpage.
What time is the car show?
The car show is August 23rd, which that's the
Monday
date.
night?
It's a Monday. It's a Monday, the 23rd. They don't know time, but during the day.
I'll get it
Call
out tomorrow.
Ruth.
I'll get it.
Okay, you can give this to the team.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hope everyone's enjoying their summer. Thanks for coming out and watching. Okay. Other than that, I'm going to stick to the agenda.
Okay. Mr. Vizigno. Skolin?
Yes, you should have received in your mailboxes the July to August assessors report with multiple attachments. The State Office of Real Property Tax Services has certified the final equalization rate at 100% for the town of Lysander's 2021 assessment roll, and that is attached. Next year processing was completed by the county on July 2nd, and work on the 2022 assessment roll has begun, and this includes creating new parcels and entering new inventory and exemptions, etc. The town of Lysander has received 5 small claim filings for 2021. The town of Lysander has received 2 Supreme Court filings for 2021, and they are Timberbanks Apartments, and they are filed each year from 2018 to 2021, and McLean, which is filed each year from 2017 to 2021. The state has issued the final star exemption corrections report prior to the printing of the school bills, and changes to the final assessment roll have been made as indicated. Our senior citizen exemption renewals for 2022 have been completed, and mailing is scheduled for early September, and the deadline for those exemptions, renewals or new, as always, is March 1st of each year. And the State Office of Real Property Tax Services has recertified the amounts for the basic star and the enhanced star exemptions for 2021. And this happened because assessments have increased, because market values have increased. And this increase has resulted in the state recertifying the amounts after the final assessment roll was filed of the star exemption amounts, and that is attached. And the Onondaga County Assessors Association will be holding their annual August meeting / picnic at Van Buren Park on Tuesday, August 24th, and this is only the 2nd meeting that we've had since February of 2020 because of the pandemic. Your attachments, as indicated, our level of assessment is at 100%. The second page indicates the level equalization rates and percent changes for all of the towns in Onondaga County. And if you remember the 2 municipalities that hadn't reassessed since prior to 1974, those 2 municipalities have the lowest equalization rates in the county, understandably so.
So, I think, explain a little bit what equalization rates.
Yeah, we're gonna get there. Bear with me. That's the last of the attachments. The next page is our change in level of assessment factor, and that was actually 5.91% higher than 100. So that is what happened and why they changed the star. Attached is the letter from the state indicating that they recalculated the amounts for the star exemptions, and the actual new recertified amounts is the next page. And the last 3 pages is an equalization rate pamphlet that's on the state website under the property owners section, and I'll hit a few high points for you. Equalization rates are used whenever municipalities are assessing at something other than 100%. And the formula is the total assessed value of the municipality divided by the market value of the municipality equals the equalization rate. Equalization rates at 100%, most likely a reassessment was conducted in recent years. Equalization rates less than 100%, the lower the equalization rate, the longer it is probably been since the last reassessment, and that's proven by the 2 municipalities that haven't done it in a long time. Equalization rates over 100%, basically what's happened, property values have decreased, but they haven't decreased the assessments accordingly, okay? Each municipality determines its own level of assessment, and this is unique in New York. This is in contrast to most states that require one level of assessment statewide. In order to distribute school taxes or county taxes among multiple municipalities with those differing levels, the level of assessment must be equalized to a full market value. And this is important to know, equalization rates do not correct unfair assessments within a municipality. Equalization rates measure the level of assessment for the entire municipality. They are not intended to correct unfair individual assessments in a city or town. The more frequently properties are reassessed based on current market values, the more likely it will be that assessments are fair, which means everyone's paying their fair share. And on the last page, equalization, it explains equalization rates and what they adjust, and it determines ceiling railroad values, agricultural values, and exemption values, and also, such as the veterans, and it determines the level of the star exemptions, which are those why they adjusted it this year. And there is a little math problem there that shows you how they calculate why equalization rates are important. Questions?
So as you explained earlier, equalization rates are important. And the reason we do 100%, like some towns don't. If you have a town that hasn't done reassessed their home values for 20 years, that meant that all those houses being built over the last 20 years were paying an unfair portion of the taxes as opposed to the houses that are existing that weren't assessed over 20 years. That's why we do 100%, so that everyone pays their fair share, so that those new homes going up aren't paying more than they should be, and the houses that are existing are paying what they should be.
Yes, and that is because if you're assessing at 100%, if you have a new house, you have typically a sales price and a construction cost, or cost value, and you can tell what 5% of that new home is, and then you apply that 5% assessment. But houses that are 100 years old, or 200 years old, or 50 years old, what is their 5% if you haven't looked at them recently? So that's where the muddy water starts. Also, it's harder to hide assessment and equity when you're at 100%, because most people can look at that assessment and say, geez, I could sell my house for that, or no, I can't. When you're assessing at 5%, they don't know what that assessment means. You have to do a math formula to figure out what your full market value is. So it's easier to hide the dirty laundry, the inequity. Okay.
So again, people that want to make sure that their star is up to date and apply, they have to do it by March 1st.
Yes.
Make sure that it's in your office, and what is the process for that, for someone that might be confused?
New property owners no longer come into our office with applications. They have to register online with the state. We have the pamphlet that we send out to all our new homeowners, and they get a check instead of the savings off their tax bill, but the savings amount is the same. And the pamphlet has the website and the phone number for the state. Anybody that have, veterans exemptions, our senior renewals, or new senior citizen exemptions, disability exemptions, they all still come through our office. The forms are there, the renewals are done each year. We typically send all of our renewals in the fall, with the exception of the agriculturals and the nonprofit exemptions, and then they have until March 1st to bring them back.
Okay, so March 1st is the date.
March 1st
So the
is
end
the
of
law.
February, so should have it in by February.
Yes.
That's, okay, that's the law. If they
And
go
that's
past
the law,
that,
yes.
there's nothing we can do or you
No,
can
because,
do.
no, because they're asking me to break the law, which I can't do.
Correct, okay.
Teresa, on page 1, can you explain the way this stuff is categorized in terms terms of the town of Fabian's, Pompey, Lysander, and Van Buren?
Oh, yes, we're CAPS.
So what's that?
We are a formal coordinated assessment program. And basically what that means is you're sharing the expenses and the duties of the assessor of the town of
That's what that
Van
means.
Buren.
Alright.
And so we're listed, Fabius and Pompey are CAP number 2, and Lysander and Van Buren are CAP number 3. Clay, you remember, not Clay, Cicero and Salina were a CAP, and they fell apart. And Camillus and Elbridge were a CAP, and they have fell apart. So,
Anything else? Any more questions? Okay, thanks.
yep.
Mr. Merrill.
Planning for pickleball tournament has begun. The tournament is scheduled for September 11th. It's a Saturday. Kickball for the kids is 2 weeks in, and seems to be going really well. Kids have an awful lot of fun. And popcorn football has begun, so the park is quite busy right now, Monday through Thursday. And a couple more, about 3 weeks, bikes will start up again, so the amount of cars and people and kids in the park will increase another tenfold, so.
Just so if people were wondering, we've been talking, you and I and Mr. Yeager have been talking about what we're gonna do about parking. So we are looking at
Absolutely.
increasing the parking. That is something that we're looking to do, and we are going to do. I mean, that's in our plan, but it's not gonna happen overnight. Along with the house and our field there, they've been bulldozing some of the
They're moving the fill around.
yeah, the hard fill around, and we're moving on that as well as taking out some trees, so we're moving forward with that as well. Okay. We talked about the $200,000 grant before, and
Yeah.
we're gonna take a trip tomorrow and take a look at some,
Heading out to Camillus, it turns out some of the equipment that we were interested in is located in Camillus, at Camillus Park. So we're gonna go check out that. And,
some in Rochester, we're gonna take a ride over.
right. And then we just applied for, through the county for American Rescue Plan money.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Pickleball, they better sign up early, because that'll probably fill up, right?
I hope so. I'm hoping we get registration form completed and out tomorrow. If I can get the committee members to kind of look at it, approve it, we'll get it out. They're capping registration at 96 participants, so it'll be what they call a double scramble. So you're playing 2-on-2, but somehow you earn points and you're actually playing as an individual, so I don't quite understand it, but that's what the pickleball community is there to help with, so.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Mr. Yeager.
I'm gonna hand it over to Mr. Sean Hillwell, who is our engineering intern for the summer, and he's gonna run through the 2022 pavement management plan that's based off the Cornell Local Roads Asset Management Software. That's great.
Okay, so, good evening, I'm Sean Hilwa, I've been Al's intern this summer. Today I want to talk to you guys about just my suggested pavement management plan for next summer, 2022. First, I just kind of want to talk to you guys about the purpose of all this. So the purpose is just taking what I learned from the Cornell Local Roads program, which I took in the beginning of June, and applying those principles to the town roads of Lysander. So the first step in doing all that is surveying the roads. So I surveyed roads from River Road to the end of Patrick, all the way to County Line Road on the west side of the town. And I applied all of my survey data into the Camp RS software system. which would then generate a report based off of condition, cost, and priority, which I could then put into an Excel spreadsheet after the fact. So the goal in doing all this is to create that spreadsheet that then the planning board could use to look for as a reference when they're finalizing the plan in the springtime, as well as to get ahead of repairs before they require complete reconstruction. In order to do that, we got to keep the roads maintained properly and extend their service life to the greatest extent possible. You can't do that without stressing the importance of preventive maintenance. So road repairs, their lives can be extended through preventive maintenance. So certain roads, they might be high quality, but they could have potholes or edge cracking that can lower their PCI, being pavement condition index. You can mitigate that using some preventive maintenance practices such as cold patching. Cold patching is just your standard pothole repair. That's just a wintertime repair. You can't necessarily get out there and hot mix in the wintertime, just it's hard to mobilize crews for that. However, that is a good temporary fix to that problem. But come summertime, if you do have a large portion of road that does need a fix, you can use the hot mix permanent patch technique. That is a good long-term patch, and they're very helpful. So pretty much the Cornell Local Roads program is based off of this graph right here. This is a pavement condition index over time graph. It shows that for the first 75% of a road's lifespan, the road decreases in quality very slowly, barring any preventive maintenance. However, over the next portion of its life, without maintenance, the road's PCI, the road quality decreases much more rapidly. So it does show that if you were to put some preventive maintenance into it again, it can make the road's service life extend much further. So looking into next summer, I think it's important to look past over the past 5 years. So over the past 5 years, the highway department has chip sealed most of the roads in the west portion of town. So what that enables us to do next summer is focus more on like the aging subdivisions, Radisson, Clinton Heights. As well, we have to absolutely look into the rising oil costs, rising costs of materials. Al talks about that all the time, inflation coming in. So I've gone ahead and I've made some spreadsheets comparing roads for both mill and fill and oil and stone from this slide and the next. So I took Connell Terrace as an example because that's a road being done currently. This summer, you're looking at about $148,000 to complete just over, or almost 8,000 square yards of road. That comes out to about $18.71 a square yard. Next summer, assuming that type 6 hot mix is going to be around 75%, we could look at about $23.59 per square yard to mill and fill road. So that same amount of road, that same amount of square yardage would be around $186,000. So for an oil and stone road, I chose Woodland Drive. It's another road that's in poor condition in this town. You're looking at about $1.44 a square yard. That comes out to about $6,600 to do about 4,600 square yards. Next summer, that'd be a little over $2,000 more to do that amount of square yardage at $1.97 a square yard. So my recommendation for next summer would be to spend a majority of the money, large majority, on mill and fill roads, and primarily in Radisson and Clinton Heights. So this is my preliminary suggested roads to do. The CAMP RS system does not have it organized by location, geography, roads that are close to each other. So I've taken the roads that, so for Radisson specifically, I have the roads that are on the eastern portion of Willett Parkway that are in need of repair. I have them grouped together. That could take out a big chunk of what roads need to be milled and filled. For Clinton Heights, there's about 6 roads left that need to be milled and filled. So I have those there. And then Billieu and Sumac on the other side, western part of Willett, are also in rough shape that can be fit into the budget. There's not many roads that need to be oil and stone, just a couple subdivisions on 31 down there. It shouldn't cost too much, and as well as $50,000 extra for crack seal and patching budget. So in conclusion, I think you can't stress enough the importance that an increased budget has made over the past few years. When I was compiling all the data, the spreadsheet showed that to do all of the roads right now, the total amount of maintenance would be around $4 million, which is, in years past, it's been almost twice that. So that's great progress that has been made. However, renewed focus by the highway department to focus on preventive maintenance could absolutely go a long way. You could repair roads that need to be reconstructed sooner and get ahead. And then finally, you just gotta keep in mind the rising cost of oil and stone prices and the fact that they will have on the amount of roads that we can do next year. Thank you.
So, when you came up with the dollar amounts, what were you basing those on? What percent increase over next year? Where did you get the numbers from?
So we looked at what the cost, the anticipated cost increases per square yard, and we didn't quite match that to do the same amount of work next year as what we had budgeted this year. We also took into account the drainage work that was included in the Connell Terrace budget. So that's how we came up with that number, based on what we anticipate inflation to be, and trying to.
What did you put as a number for inflation?
Depended on the treatment, but those slides.
Like for mill and fill.
So you're looking at about a
little under 50% increase.
well, no, it's not quite that much. It's about 30% increase for next year for the whole package, including milling, tack coat, and actual hot mix asphalt. So it's significant, and
Well, that's why we're doing so much this year. I mean, we're pumping.
I understand that, but we're if you take your foot off the gas, we start slipping back into that trend.
Well, we'll talk about that at budget time, but, I mean, the reason we did it this year, we did so much, is because we knew that there was gonna be an increase next year. So,
The budget amount this year is not significantly more than what was budgeted the previous year.
no, but if you add what we put additionally after that.
Well, yeah, that was not town funding, that was all state funding.
No, but it's still funding, it's still funding to put into the road. I mean, so we're looking at $1.5 million at least, right? So we put $1.5 million in. I mean, it wasn't like it was an insignificant amount of money. I mean, we were able to get some grant funding and things that other towns weren't able to do, so, okay.
So, So I can't read that total budget amount on here, and I couldn't read it up there. What was that amount?
$1 million,
It's a little over $1 million, like.
yeah, $1,040,000. So about $140,000
Okay.
increase.
Okay, thank you.
So do you anticipate that this will be the budget?
Oh no, this is not Jerry's presentation.
I know.
This is our intern, from the knowledge that he has gained over the summer
Gotcha.
through working with Jerry and I. This is what he is presenting as what he would suggest. This is not Jerry's plan. This is not my plan. This is our intern, through the knowledge and skills that he's acquired over the Cornell training and working with Jerry and I. And based on what he knows about roads, this was the suggested road list that he came.
Can you go back to, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the only thing I would add, and I appreciate that Jerry has presented this, and this isn't the budget presentation, but I'm guessing you approve of what you're into.
I do. I think he did a very good job with
I
it.
think so too.
We talked significantly about mobilization cost and geographic location. It's one of the things that the Camp RS software doesn't have the ability to take into consideration when they give you suggested roads to do first. And if you got a contractor that's jumping all over the place, so productivity goes down and our costs go up. So we feel that it's important to try to group enough roads together that contractors can move into one neighborhood and stay there for a few days, rather than hopping all over the place, which increases costs.
So to Pete's point, and then I'm done. Could you print this out again, maybe on half page or full page?
Sure.
I'd like to have a copy.
No problem. I'll email it to everybody tomorrow.
That'd be great.
So I personally am not a fan of oil and stone. You know why?
They do?
I mean, is this a common practice that?
It is. I mean, these roads, like speech track roads, are essentially laid up layers of oil and stone over the years. Same thing with the High Street on the opposite side of 31, on the north side of 31. They're not necessarily hot mix roads. They've never been hot mix roads. So if you try to put hot mix over a road that is of substandard quality from a sub-base standpoint, you're gonna have longevity issues with the hot mix asphalt.
But to put oil and stone on a hot mix road
Is not necessarily a good practice unless you don't have the money to preserve the road.
Because we've been doing it before, correct?
It is, and for some of the times that that's happened is we didn't have the money in the budget to mill and fill it, but the top course of the road was starting to come apart.
So would that be under the classification as asphalt right there? Is that I'm not a road guy, but.
Yeah, and the reason that's shown as asphalt is that development was cold mix paved 7 years ago. So cold mix paving has a high void ratio, and it has to be sealed every 5 to 7 years or it will crack and deteriorate. So that road is in, to preserve the money that was put into it with cold mix asphalt needs to be chip sealed next year.
Thanks.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Good job.
Very good job.
Mr. Hill, I've watched him since he's been here, and I got to say that Mr. Yeager did a good job in selecting him because I thought for the his age, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but the amount of experience he has, he performed, in my opinion, like he had been around for a little while, and I was really impressed with some of the things he did, and he was always working hard. Anything that he was asked to do, he went out and did it with little to no direction, and he got along with all the staff, including the highway personnel. They liked him as well, so I think we got pretty lucky with having him as an intern and looking at his presentation. I think he did a great job on that, so thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Falcone.
Nothing else for today.
All right. So we'll move on to regular agenda items. We're going to table motion A, and we'll move on to B. So may I have a motion to accept and this is a change. We had to change the landscaping company because the landscaping company backed out of their original bid. So may I have a motion to accept the bid of Distinguished Landscapes in the amount of $39,000 for the 2021 Town of Lysander swale clearing and pond mowing contract.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. I have a motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign the asbestos air monitoring proposal from Churchill Environmental for air monitoring services during the asbestos abatement project at the 8431 Smoky Hollow Road property in the amount not to exceed $2,500 with all fees to be paid from the fee in lieu of parkland account.
I'll move it.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, we're going to need an executive session tonight. We have contract negotiations that we have to go over with the board. There's some specifics that we have to work out for the contract with the town administrative employees. So may I have a motion to move into executive session at 7:39?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
All in in favor? Aye. Okay, executive session.